How's it going, guys? My name is Ricky Senpai and welcome to a new anime video. Basically, today's video is going to be just my recommendations for different animes that you guys can pick up during the season of fall. I know there are a few people out there who are kind of struggling in terms of finding a series to watch or something to watch during the season of fall, and I feel that there are some animes that might be worth your time. I'm not going to go over every single anime that you guys see here on the screen, but I will be going over maybe 3 or 4 that I feel like is going to be a good watch for you guys. Another question, if you guys are asking, is that if I've seen every single anime here that I'm that is on the screen and stuff. No, I haven't got through to all of the animes that have come out during the season of fall, because there is quite a lot, and I still have like a large catalog that I still need to get through, because there's so much good things to watch in so little time. But as I just go through this video, I'm just gonna go through 4 that I have personally watched, and I've kind of taken the time to kind of do a bit of research on them, read the manga and stuff, and kind of go through it just so I can get a further understanding where the story is heading. But this video is just going to be a recommendation of just a few that I think might be worth your time. So let's get into the video. Basically, the first anime that I will recommend to you guys is the Goblin Slayer. And the Goblin Slayer, let me just click on here. The Goblin Slayer is one of the, you can kind of say it's a controversial anime, because I did release a video about this topic well, maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and it's on the channel. Feel free to browse through the channel and have a look, but I'll leave the link in the description. It might make it easier. But it's an anime that did touch on a controversial subject, which was rape. And I do apologize if it comes off the wrong way to people who who have been around it or have heard of someone suffering or going through just, it's an ugly topic, but I do apologize. But in relevance to this anime, it kind of, I wouldn't say, I want to come off as respectful as I can, but the way that they use this controversial subject in the first episode of anime, it just flies at you, and you're kind of there are a few things that run through your mind as it carries on. But it does its job well for what its purpose is. But it's one of those, it's a dark fantasy anime where if you kind of don't understand where it is or how it's being used, and in that particular scene, then you will never understand, and you'll find it disgusting, and you'll turn this, you wouldn't want to watch this anime anyways. But my recommendation, it's a good find, it's a good pickup, and if you decide to pick it up, you won't be disappointed, because it does its job well to tell the story in the first few episodes. Because I think there's only been 4 episodes so far that's been released, and within those 4 episodes, if anyone out there's read the manga, probably knows more about it. And you feel free to leave comments in the description, or comments in the comment section for you to talk about it. But based purely on the anime, it's a good anime to start with. I'm just gonna recommend it because the storytelling and the way they put together certain plots in in the anime, they do it really well. And for them to introduce the main character, Goblin Slayer, it's just cold, calculated, motivated just to slaughter everything. He really rubs off you in the right way. Just the fact that he doesn't really have a personality with him, because for some reason you just don't know how this guy feels, because he always has his helmet on, and you don't really see his personality, so you're kind of just stuck with this kind of like one-dimensional view of who Goblin Slayer is. But it grows on you. But if there's a recommendation for an anime that you should pick up and give it a watch, I feel that this is one of the finds. Second find that I feel that is going to be something really good for you guys to enjoy is Tokyo Ghoul Re 2. And this is not the first set of episodes, because I know there are 24 episodes, and the first 12 was premiered during the beginning of the year, and then the second 12 is going to premiere in about 2 days time. And the reason why I recommend it, it's going to be a good watch for you guys, because the storytelling in this and the way they've written out the plots for this anime, I feel that it's done really, really well. Because there are a lot of people who prefer Tokyo Ghoul and Kaneki story before it kicks off here in Tokyo Ghoul Re. They do really well to tell a story, because Kaneki, for if you haven't seen any of the prior Tokyo Ghouls, and your first time viewing or watching Tokyo Ghoul is watching Tokyo Ghoul Re, it does its job well to not make you feel like displaced, because there are certain things that they do discuss in this anime that ties back to, you know, the original Tokyo Ghoul, but and, you know, not so much to the point where, you know, you're gonna get lost and you're wondering which is which and what is what, but you end up just watching it and you kind of, you know, you kind of fall in love with the characters. But you know, the way that they tell the story here in Tokyo Ghoul, it's marvelous. I've always thought that Tokyo Ghoul was written the right way, and if it stays true to the manga, and there are certain things that are kind of edgy in terms of reference to the manga and stuff, but you know, if you're a manga purist, then you know you're gonna have a lot of issues with this. But if you're just watching the anime for its theatrics and just the way that it tells a story and it gets you engaged in the different characters, seeing everything from their point of view, you will really love this anime, because I feel it's one of the only few animes during the season of fall that tells a story, and it tells it really well. And if there's someone that disagrees with me, you know, type up in the comment section why you disagree, and I'll find you and I'll murder you. I'm playing. But it's an anime that's always been written well, you know. And to see Kaneki, where he kind of goes into his own, you know, he's stuck between two worlds, or whether he sees himself as a dove or sees himself as just a ghoul, and he's kind of torn in between, because he essentially leads, you know, a little group of his own, a group of elites who, you know, who are kind of more enforced to fight the ghouls. So the way it balances itself out is that you are kind of, the story tells itself through both eyes, from Kaneki's point of view and from from Heise's point of view, if I've got that correct, pronounced it correctly. So give it a watch, because I feel like it's gonna be a good watch, because the first 12 episodes they already aired, and this is the second lot of 12. And I know they do this in a lot of Japanese shows and a lot of Japanese animes, where they, you know, they actually have 24 episodes, but they, you know, they kind of divvy it up so it can last throughout the year. So if you're still on the fence, pick this one up, because I feel Tokyo Ghoul is one of the best anime series during fall. Third recommendation for the anime of the season of fall is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you know, it's a really good anime, and it's kind of like an anime where there are a lot of people who still don't know or haven't, you know, seen any season of the series, and you know, they're still kind of lost. You know, it kind of feels to them that they've never heard of the series, but it's one of the most highly rated animes in Japan. You know, and I know that everyone that's seen the first season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure absolutely fell in love with it, because it's total badassery. And the way that I like to describe this anime is, you know, it's fun, it's unpredictable, you know, it's flashy, you know, and just, you know, the art style from the anime as well is a reflection of just how, you know, just how catchy and sassy the characters are. Because the last season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you know, well, in my opinion, it kind of left me in a cliffhanger. But this series, I know it just came out like a few weeks ago. I think it's on to its 4th season. I feel that the very first episode of the new season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was done really well. And if anyone out there, you know, want to recorrect me, you know, feel free to go into the comments and be a keyboard warrior, you know. But I kind of feel that the way that they told Giorno and kind of introduced you, because he's trying to make his way to the top of, you know, the top of the top of his family and the gangster family, you know. And it's just, I like the way they introduced him, you know. And it's one of the few animes that I feel, in my opinion, one of the few animes that I feel that its storytelling has been consistently well done throughout its very first season, from the very first JoJo. And it's done well to just kind of, even though not directly tie or correlate the different seasons to like two different to the animes, but it does its job well to tie itself into this. And I kind of feel like that the way that they've introduced Giorno and his dreams and aspirations to become, you know, the boss gangster, you know, the top in his family, I felt like they've done it right. So, you know, I don't really want to try to ruin too much of JoJo, and I want you guys to go out there and watch it. But I feel this could be a fine that you either hate or you love. And if you pick it up, you watch a few episodes. And the thing is, it's when it comes to certain animes, if you don't like art style and you don't play so much heavy focus and attention to art style, then it can grow on you. But if you like, you know, if you like really out there, fun and exciting art style, this anime will jump in, you know, will jump into you, or jump at you more like it. So, you know, it's one of my recommendations, and I would love for you guys to watch it. And if you guys do watch it and you feel that I'm wrong in any kind of way, feel free to voice them down in the comments. Last anime recommendation I want to make to you guys is a new anime that's just come out, and that is Hinomaru Sumo. And it's out of the 4 that I've just described, it's my favorite find of this fall, because sometimes, you know, when it comes to animes, you know, you don't want to be too perplexed when it comes to storyline and plots and, you know, just, you know, double and dabble in a lot of complicated things. This here is just a nice, fun, cheer him up, you know, cheer him on shonen anime. And your character Hinomaru is, you know, he wants to become the top sumo wrestler, you know, in his high school, and maybe he wants to get to the a rank in professional, which is considered the highest, which is called Hinoshita. And it's in a way you kind of fall in love with the character, because like for certain animes that I do watch, you know, I kind of like to live in the moment and live through the character, you know, kind of experience what they feel. And he does this in a really good way, because it comes during the anime and stuff where when you look at his build and Hinomaru's build, he's not built like a traditional sumo wrestler, you know, he's built a little bit leaner, you know, a little bit muscular, you know, not the really big heavy type of sumo wrestlers. And it's kind of like people just laugh him up because, you know, you don't look like a sumo wrestler, you don't have the strength and the power. And, you know, you can kind of tell the storyline that's going to build from there. And I feel like this is the fine, well, I think it's the fine of the season, because it's one of those feel-good animes that you just want to watch and you're just cheering him on, you know. But if you're too cool for that stuff, you know, if you're really too cool, you know, to be down to the shonen, you know, maybe you guys want to go watch Tokyo Ghoul and, you know, watch the other stuff with more perplexing storylines. But when it comes to just pure adrenaline, you know, pure fun for the anime that it is, I think that Hinomaru is probably the best anime of the season, well, personally in my opinion, because I sometimes when it comes down to it, I just want to watch something fun, something exciting, and something where I can get behind a character and cheer him, you know, where you're not completely cheering for a complete, you know, retard, you know, throughout most of the anime and stuff. But I feel that this here is going to be the find. So, you know, if you do get a chance, please check this out, and I thoroughly recommend this. Well, thank you for tuning in for this video, and hopefully these 4 choices that I've just given you guys can be something that you guys can work around. There may be other animes out there that you guys have seen during the season of 4 that I haven't watched. If you recommend it, please let us know in the comment section, because, you know, I'd like to watch it as well and add it to my ever-growing list. And I do apologize for having a massive list, but like I said, you know, I like to watch anime and I like to watch it in order. So I'm not the type to watch one anime episode here, then jump onto this one and jump to. I like to watch it in order. So if you have any recommendations, feel free to let us know in the comment section and we can give it a watch. Thank you again for joining us for the video. My name is Ricky Senpai, and as always, sweet ass.